What's up, y'all? It's Monday. I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. Now, before we get started, I just want to thank each and every one of you for clicking on this video to give it a watch. I appreciate the continued support. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and dive nose deep into this breaking news, very sad news as it pertains to Hayden Panettiere, who passed away in Greenville, South Carolina yesterday due to cardiac arrest. And it's also been audio released from the 911 call that states that it was a possible overdose.
Hey everyone, instant to yourself for cardiac arrest, Justin Millwall. Hey everyone, instant to yourself for cardiac arrest, Justin Millwall. Mr. 1, minute 29, responding.
Respond in place of medic 29. Overdose, CPR is in progress.
This is just devastating news, to say the very least. She was only 36 years old. She leaves behind an 11-year-old daughter. She will be remembered for her work because she was a beloved actress. I can remember her starring in Remember the Titans alongside Denzel, Bring It On, All or Nothing. She also starred in a couple of the Scream flicks. Also, she starred in Amber Alert, and so forth and so on. And I can only imagine the deep hurt and pain that Hayden's parents are suffering from right now, because they're not too far removed from having to bury Hayden's younger brother, Jansen, who passed away suddenly at his home in New York City at the age of 28 due to an undiagnosed heart condition. Now, it's no secret that Hayden did struggle with a severe long-term addiction to alcohol and opioids, which she did detail extensively in her May 2026 memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning. And back in 2018, she had to make the heartbreaking temporary but turned permanent decision to sign over full custody of Kaya to her ex, which is her 11-year-old daughter. And she did so to seek treatment for severe postpartum depression and opioid and alcohol addiction. Now, just this past May, Hayden sat down and did a podcast, and she talked about how she wasn't protected in Hollywood and how she was on this boat and she had to run for cover and safety. It's a very sad story. And there's a lot of people that are saying that this is Brittany Murphy all over again, who passed away tragically, and it's still some mystery to how she passed away. But I'm going to play you a clip of what Hayden had to say that happened to her at that particular point in time, and it affected her throughout her life.
And I thought I was so mature at 18. Scientifically, her frontal lobes don't develop until we're 25, 26. So even though I felt like I could make healthy decisions, safe decisions, I wasn't capable of being fully aware of what was going on around me. And it wasn't until I found myself in predicaments that I realized, my perspective completely shifted, and I realized that I was in danger. But by the time I'd realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea. And it was that moment shook me and was shocking. And I was quite literally walked down, and I had been having a great time. There was no hints of anything like that happening. So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise. And it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous and had his hands like this, like this was just, an average day for him. This is something that happens all the time. And I waited for her to leave, and I mean that lion in me, that fire in me, that my hair stood on end, and I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. But I had nowhere to hide. And I bolted and I hid wherever I could think of to hide on a boat. On a boat. There was no jumping off and swimming away, and there was nobody who was going to, I realized that there was nobody who was going to be empathetic to my situation, that this was nothing new to them.
All right, so you heard what Hayden had to say about the situation. Just very, very sickening and demonic. And we know how Hollywood gets down, so it's no surprise there. But of course, her being the age that she was when this transpired, I'm pretty sure she was shocked because she thought that she was super protected when she really wasn't. Now, there are some people that are already providing their think pieces on this particular situation. There's some that don't believe that Hayden passed away in the fashion that they're reporting that she passed in, because they feel like she was on the cusp of exposing Hollywood. And even though she didn't mention names in her memoir or mention any celebrity names in that podcast that I just played for you right then and there, they viewed her as a threat. Now, I'm not going to go so far to say that I'm jumping on that bandwagon, but I told you guys before, when you are in Hollywood and you have a known addiction and you start to speak up for yourself and you start to speak up against the machine, it's a very easy thing for the powers that be to have you knocked off and then blame it on the addiction that people know that you were suffering from publicly. Now, there's also a lot of people that are zooming in and taking a closer look at Hayden's on and off again boyfriend, Brian Hickerson, because he's been arrested on a multitude of occasions for DV. Back in May of 2019, he was taken into custody for felony DV following a physical altercation in Hollywood where the police noted that there were visible marks on Hayden. And then back in February of 2020, he was also arrested on Valentine's Day in Wyoming after putting paws on her with a closed fist, causing facial injuries. Then in 2021, there was a plea deal in sentencing where Hickerson pleaded no contest to 2 felony counts of injuring a partner. He was sentenced to 45 days in a county jail, 4 years of formal probation, 52 mandatory DV classes, and a 5-year restraining order. Now, according to reports, Hayden and Brian actually flew to South Carolina over the weekend, so they were together when she passed away. And it's also been noted that his brother was there as well. And so it's very interesting, to say the very least. And of course, they're doing their investigation still, but they're saying that she apparently passed away from an overdose ultimately. Now, just like I told you guys earlier, there are so many people that are not believing this story. For instance, this guy right here, Brendan, says Hayden knew too much. Hollywood doesn't like when you reveal their secrets. When you do, they will try to blank you or destroy your reputation. Wouldn't be surprised if Hayden was just another whistleblower who they unalived to keep the truth hidden. So this is a very common thread that's trending all over social media. And it's also being reported this morning that there were 2 ambulances that showed up when they made the 911 call that Hayden was in distress. 2 ambulances? They were banking that they needed to take her out or wanted her taken out, if that's the case. You know, like I said, I'm not buying into it. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon, but 2 ambulances showing up, I get it. Just great response from the first responders and things of that nature. I appreciate what they do, but a lot of people do feel that there's something off-putting here, and you can't blame them because of the nature of Hollywood. They have a reputation of people coming up missing when you want to express the truth about what happened to you, because there's so many things that have went down that we will never know about in our lifetime, you know? And they're doing a damn good job to keep the truth hidden because they know if they do, America will implode. In fact, the entire world will implode, given the information that is out there. But so many people are scared to speak up. They want to take care of their family, and they want to just keep their head down and continue to be a controlled opposition. And I call celebrities a controlled opposition because that's what you are. If you're not going to speak up and tell the truth, and you're just taking the checks to the bank, then you willingly contributed to all of the blood that's been shed, and you have it on your damn hands. But anyway, I'm going to let this go right here. I want you guys to feel free to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like this video, also share this video, and I want you guys to continue to have a blessed day. Peace.